Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette. We're so glad that you're with us today to stay curious. We got the space station behind us here. We're going to talk wall to wall astronauts today. We have actually three astronaut birthdays to talk about. We're going to talk about the 13 occupants of the International Space Station and the Tiangong Chinese Space Station as they launched three new Taikonauts. Been yesterday morning, our time, America time. That adds how many people now have orbited the Earth since all eternity? Uh, and also, how many American men are on the International Space Station right now? All right. Hint is we have 7 people on our International Space Station. That's what we're going to talk about today. Our astronaut heroes, and have fun doing that. I say we, Marty Winkle, my co-producer. Marty, how are you today? I was out to Space Center and saw Wendy Lawrence on her last day. I took him out some mini Halloween cupcakes. And so how you doing today, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Mark. Thanks. How are you?
Good, good. We want you to chime in on the things we're going to talk about today. We wanted to remind everybody that we're going to launch a Galaxy of Giving campaign next week, try to raise some money for our humble museum. We also couldn't do without people like this mystery artist here talking about us. This has been the main game changer for the American Space Museum and Stay Curious program is having people to the likes of this gentleman, Chris Calley, shown there, and others, Doug Forrest. I'm also going to talk about. I know Doug's watching and Chris watches also. This was Chris's beautiful recent masterpiece of his Artemis impression a year ago when Artemis was between the aborted well, not aborted, but canceled launch of August and headed to the November launch here, just a couple of weeks, Marty. So this is the work of Mr. Chris Calley, whose father, Paul Calley, was one of the first artists allowed on the Kennedy Space Center property by the great Mr. James Webb, the NASA administrator. And here is a piece of work by Doug Forrest. 2 R's on Forrest there. Doug, glad to give you a little love. This is, of course, his impression of Apollo 14 and First Man in Space, Alan Shepard, hitting a golf ball at the end of their EVA with Walk on the Moon with, of course, Edgar Mitchell. Both of them have passed away. And as you see, both of these gentlemen have artistic chops like none other and different angles and different ways to interpret things. And you may explore some of their other artwork at their websites there. So hope you do. Their things are up for sale and you'll be happy to put any of their work on your space cave. And we're happy that they are partners of the American Space Museum. We also wanted to remind everybody that we did a program yesterday on Pam Melroy, the commander and pilot, commander of the 2 on the top, or no, I got them out of sequence there. 120 was her command, 112 there in the middle, and STS 94 was her other mission. And now she is the NASA Deputy Administrator. Her 39 days in space was building the International Space Station, and now she's building the future for NASA. And we had a great conversation yesterday about her missions and had our friend Ken Verderami, who was in test pilot school, her instructor, and one of our go-to talks on UFOs and other things. Had great remarks to say about her, so check that Stay Curious out on YouTube that we talked about Pam Melroy's 3 October missions. And let's go backwards there, boys. And we got our happy birthdays up finally. Happy 77th birthday to T.J. Hart. Terry Jonathan Hart was born October 27th, 1946 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And he flew an important early space shuttle mission, STS-41C, one of the legendary missions of the shuttle program. There he is probably talking about it. 7-day mission, deployed the long duration exposure facility and retrieved the alien Solar Max satellite. Bob Crippen was the commander. Pinky Nelson did the man maneuvering unit to get to the Solar Max. Um, and Guy Bluford was on that, I believe. He was also a member, and here he is, as a teacher uh, out in Lehigh University, one of his alma maters. Love that picture. He's got either opportunity or spirit in his hand there. Uh, Lehigh and Rutgers are his universities. Though he was just one time a shuttle astronaut, I consider him, a pioneer. They flew just in their flight suits because they thought it was so safe. He was on the 11th overall flight of the shuttle. And he was the Capcom on STS 1, 2, 3, and 7 on ascent to orbit. So everybody in the early astronaut corps certainly knew T.J. Hart. He became the director of engineering and operations at AT&T Satellite Network, and he is shown here as a member of the engineering faculty at Lehigh University. We're wishing T.J. Hart a happy 77th birthday. And a big 7-0 to this friend of Marty and I. We've dined with Bakes. Mike Allen Baker was born October 27th, 1953 in Memphis, Tennessee, but he considers Lemoore, California to be his hometown. And there's a lot of astronauts that are born somewhere, and as a baby they were taken somewhere else to grow up, but Memphis gets to claim Bakes. He's twice a pilot, twice a commander. 43 was a satellite deploy for him, and 52 was a microgravity lab. Then he commanded a space radar lab, STS-68, and then docked with the Mir space station to pick up his first commander on STS-43, John Blaha, who had lived on the Mir space station for about 5 months. Bakes has 40 days in space. He's a friend of the museum. There he is, giving astronauts out very recently. There's Nick Thomas behind him there. We love how the astronauts interact with all of the people. Marty, we know this might be the only time these ladies ever meet an astronaut one-on-one. There's only there's just a little over 600 humans that can say they orbited the Earth. There's Mike Baker. After his retirement as a commander, he represented NASA to the Russian Space Agency at the Gagarin Cosmodrome in Star City. For 6 or 7 years, he was in charge of the NASA astronauts going over there, like Ron Garan, Katie Coleman, that flew Soyuz spacecraft to the International Space Station when we had no other way to go. And yes, I was out to Space Center today and had Wendy, Lawrence, and Nick Thomas say happy birthday to Bakes there. Even found a 70 in a shuttle cake there, Marty. You didn't have to Photoshop that. So a great guy. We appreciate what he's done here to help promote the American Space Museum as he's gotten us known a little bit. Now, this astronaut was born on October 27th, but he has passed away 9 years ago, and I wish I could get to know him a little more. Steve Nagel. Steve Nagel was 4 flights, once a mission specialist. The second flight, that was on STS-51G. Then the first German lab that we talked about with Mikey Haddad and Angel Otero Wednesday. You want to see that? Stay Curious program. He was the pilot of that. So going from mission specialist to pilot, and then he was a commander on his last 2 missions, where he flew with his wife to be Linda Godwin. And that was the Compton Gamma Ray Observatory flight. Then he commanded the German D2 mission, STS-55. Died of cancer in August 2014. And this is why we do stay curious and why we do research on things, is sometimes, there is a deceased astronaut that I like talking about because, and I'm going to ask people that I haven't asked about this astronaut because he seemed to be really a good one, and married to Linda Godwin. There he is in the commander seat. And those of you, there's Linda. Now you all know what she looks like. She herself spent 38 days in space on, I think, 4 space flights. maybe 5 even. Just remember their family and remember all of our astronaut heroes living and passed away. And this is certainly one that we wish was still around. He'd have been 77 years old today. That is Stephen Nagel, or Nagel, probably is how they pronounce it. Well, to the feature of today's Stay Curious program, 13 humans orbiting Earth. I think 18 is the record we had for is 17 or 18, but I think when Peggy Whitson's command of the Axiom 4 astronauts come back, I think there was 14 on the 2 space stations, and but I'm going to double check that, but that would have been this summer. But 13 and 14 has been tied quite a few times, but would you believe there are no American men on orbiting Earth? Marty, get our research department on that. I want to know when the last time that happened, that no male Americans are orbiting the Earth. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Not at all. But we have 6 Chinese, 1 Japanese, 1 from Denmark, 3 Russians, and 2 American women. And we just went about 2-month period without any women at all up in space, and now there's 2. Well, here's the crews on the left side, or the Taikonauts, Taikonauts, that are on the Tiangong Heavenly Palace Space Station. And then we've got 7 on the International Space Station. We got the Crew 7, Crew Dragon 7 there, SpaceX. And then the most recent ones were the Soyuz MS-24 that went up. We're going to talk each a little bit about those astronauts. I didn't get all their hometowns and all that stuff. More, I'm thinking of their ages and how long they've been up there. But we had 2 rookies among these Chinese Taikonauts. So that increased our number of human beings that we say have orbited Earth to 608 astronauts. As Mr. Hugh Harris would say, Marty, since all eternity. And this is since, of course, the first Yuri Gagarin, April 12th, 1961. 75 women, 533 men. And Marty has coined the phrase Karmanauts for the suborbital people that reach the Kármán line, 60 miles or 100 kilometers, 62 miles or 100 kilometers. So we even threw this up in front of who's considered the dean of space journalists, Bill, the CBS, Bill Hartwood. All right. And he didn't have any qualms with it. Bill said he hadn't separated out the suborbital and orbital. We think that's significant because the suborbital is going to be 600, within 5 years, maybe, once Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin gets their suborbital programs cranked up. So hope you find this interesting. Here are the new cosmonauts that have gone to space. So let me go back to that meme here. I call them these memes. Tiangong Space Station, about a third of the size of the International Space Station. It's a little deceiving because the living area is only about, again, it's about a third what the living area is. Think of 7 double-wide trailers, and that'd be the International Space Station. They may have 2 double-wide trailers. They got a X type of thing going on there with it. We're going to talk about that more. But the 2 new astronauts that came up there, there's at the top 2 up there are experienced astronauts. Let's go to the bottom. These are the Shenzhou 17 that docked yesterday with the Heavenly Palace. You have got on the left there Tang Hangbo, all right? And the next guy is Tang Xingyang, and the third guy is Yang Xingling, all right? So we got Tang, and Ying. So Tang, you know it. I went out and got me some Tang, folks, here, and going to enjoy a little Tang here with y'all for the rest of Stay Curious, the space age drink. Doesn't taste too bad, actually. But can you imagine that? 2 Chinese astronauts named Tang can't make this stuff up. And we don't want to, as we are a space museum. very interesting. Tang Hangbo, the guy in the bottom left there, he's 48. He is the first person to visit this space station twice. He stayed 92 days on it, and so he's been up there 2 days, so he's got 94 days in space. The space rookies there add our total of 608. Xingli Tang, number two, is 34 years old in the middle, and the other one, Jing, is 35. Then up at the top are the crew that's going to come back probably Tuesday, Halloween morning. You'll probably be hearing that in the news that they've returned after about 200. No, they're going to be up there for about 160 days each, 155. The first guy on the left, Ying Haipin, is 57. This is his fourth space flight. This is the John Young of the Chinese space program. Okay. And by the way, the Shenzhou 17 launched yesterday, Marty, was only the 12th crewed flight by China. 12th crewed flight in the history of Chinese space flight. And this is their third space station. And they've got some big plans for it, for going to the moon. Our 12th space flight was probably Gemini 6 or 7, something like that, after we did the 6 Mercury and 10 Gemini. So very ambitious. They're putting people up 6 months at a time. And that's their John Young, their most experienced astronaut, Ying Hang Pang, there on the left. He's got almost 200 days in space now on his fourth flight. He's also the first Chinaman to go to space twice. His first flight was in 2008 on Shenzhou 7. So this is 15 years later since his first flight. And he's coming back next Tuesday. And he's also the first China commander to dock with a space station. They put up 2 small space stations in 2012 and 2015, and then this Tiangong is the one they want to keep up there a while. So the other 2 men up there with him, Gui Haichu and Zhao Hangzhou, they're 37 and 36 years old respectively. Their first flights, they'll be going up again. So there's 4 rookies coming back eventually that will be ready and have 6 months in space. And Hang Pin, if they don't make him the chairman of the country after his 4th flight, he'll probably fly again at age 57. So that is our Chinese up there in space, and they have big plans on this Tiangong space station called Heavenly Palace. This is what we think it looks like. They've had 3 missions up there, and you think we could find a picture of it taken by the Taikonauts leaving it? No, of course they've taken some, but this just shows you how tightly things are clamped over there. And let me remind you that these Taikonauts are called the China People's Liberation Army Astronaut Corps, the PLAAC. All right, People's Liberation Army Astronaut Corps is the correct designation for those Taikonauts. Well, this is what an artist rendition of it looks like, and they're going to launch at the beginning of the year a space telescope that will be in the same orbit. Now, here are 6 Taikonauts on their space station. That is a woman there. This was the last time they had 6 up there before she came back with the other 2 crewmates. But that woman, Louis Lai, I think is her name, she's been up twice already. And they've flown 3 women up there already. So one thing you notice when they do show pictures, and this is an area they're going to show you, they have a lot of Bluetooth up there, Marty. They don't want to mess the thing up with wires like we have in our space stations and Russia's space stations too. They're trying to keep things really clean with a lot of Bluetooth and wireless connection. They're Chinese. They invented all that stuff, so we'll take it from them. This is the space telescope dubbed XUNTIAN, Zuntian. Their X's or Z's. Zuntian will be installed at the space station. It will co-orbit with it. It won't be connected to it. It's a 6-foot diameter telescope The Hubble telescope is 9 feet, yet the Chinese are bragging that this will outperform the Hubble telescope because it has a wider angle field of view. Therefore, if it's like a wide angle telescope, it won't do good on things like planets, but do better on things like galaxies and in galaxy clusters and so forth. But Xuntian can be literally translated as surveying the sky or survey of the heavens, Xuntian. So, like Americans and Russians, we pick things that are dear to our heart that speak of what we're trying to do with a satellite or a mission. It says designed to outdo the Hubble Space Telescope. It's going to orbit near the space station where it can be overhauled from time to time by Chinese spacewalkers. Dark matter and dark energy are the priorities to solve those mysteries of astronomy. So we will look forward to this. Where is that orbit? Marty asked. About 225, 250 miles high. I actually think they have their Tiangong up about 260, 270, and our International Space Station goes about 225 to 250. They have thrusters to boost them up a little bit from time to time if a spacecraft isn't there to do it. Well, let's get to our other astronauts up there. There is our International Space Station, a pretty recent photo taken by one of the departing crews. And here is the crew of SpaceX Crew 7. And up in the upper left-hand corner is Andreas Mogensen. And he has now been in space 72 days, all right? He was him and the Japanese Furukawa were veterans of this mission. Furukawa is on the right. Furukawa has 229 days in space right now on 2 missions. Furukawa was up on the Expedition 29 in 2011. So he too spent 10 years waiting to go to space again. Bet he didn't look that gray when he went up, Marty, in 2011 on Expedition 29. They are now part of Expedition 70. All right. The space station's been orbiting 24 years and it's been continuously occupied, coming up on 22. So Jasmine Mogeli there, she is 40 years old. Konstantin Borisov, she's the commander, by the way, of this, and a rookie. Konstantin Borisov is 39 years old, and he is a rookie. This crew's been up there 62 days. They're about a third of the way through their mission. Furukawa is 59, and Andreas Mogensen is 46. Marty is talking to Terry White, our shuttle garage manager, and firming up that he's going to be on the show Wednesday, November 8th, and tell him what I was going to talk about today. He said that Morganson was the 40th and last foreigner to fly on a shuttle. And he did fly up to the space station on STS 130 or something like that. I could look it up on the scroll here. And he spent 10 days up there on space. Let's see if I can nab that out of the shuttle scroll here real quick and pull a Morganson out of my hat. Morganson. I couldn't find him there. Looks like he may have been. Anyway, that'll be something for our research department to have for me next time we do this. And here are the other 3 crew members, the newest members of Expedition 70 on the space station, called the Soyuz MS-24 crew. Laurel O'Hara, she was a rookie, and they've all been up there now 42 days, launched a little over a month ago. Nikolai Chubb, he's 39, Laurel's 40, but don't let her know I told you so. Oleg Konyenko there on the far left. This is a guy we would love to talk to, 59 years old. Today is his 779th day in space on 5 trips to the International Space Station. He knows every nook and cranny of that space station, Marty. He was up there first in 2008. Yep, carry that. That's 15 years ago. All right, on Expedition 17, and here he is on Expedition 70. He was commander of 2 of those expeditions, those being 31, 45, and 50 were the other expeditions. So That is a guy I would want to be on the space station with, Marty. Somebody that knew everything about it, all the noises. There's a lot of fans whirling. There's a lot of external noises. You can always be freaking out by, did you hear that? Are you supposed to hear that noise like that? So that's the guy I'd want to be up there with. So as we look at these crews, and let me look at where I'm at here with all of our crews here. There we go. There's our Expedition 70 crewmates there looking down on us. You can see them 2 or 3 times every month in the morning and 2 or 3 times every month in the evening, right around twilight. There's an application for that. Very bright and moving, not blinking, not moving any direction, but straight. And if it's late twilight, you may just see it bright, get dim, and then just disappear into the shadow of the earth that you can't see up in the sky. That's always fun to see. Who is the youngest of all these up there? That would be the Russian Nikolai Chubb at 39 and Konstantin Borisov at 39. So think of the training, think of the college, think of these exhilaration to finally make it to space. And, I'm going to kind of say outside of your special missions now of the private companies like Axiom and it looks like around late 30s is the benchmark that you're going to be in space on there. So let's see, I've got here we got to show somebody in space. There's the 2 American women in space with Fukawa there, and that'd be the that's Andreas Morgan there. So up there in space digging. Don't know what they're holding up. They didn't have anything under. They have something in their hand there. Some product they're trying to sell, it looks like. Maybe it's snake oil, Marty, or not. I caught that new game program the other day. It's pretty cute. Here's who we have docked at the International Space Station. We have the MS-24 that took up that crew a month ago. We have the Crew Dragon that's been up there for 62 days, been docked there. You got the Cygnus 19. Now, this is an artist's rendition. You still have the Cygnus 19 cargo ship there that they're filling up with all their dirty clothes and everything else that stinks up there. And they have a Progress 85 and a Progress 84. Those are the supply missions that Russia has sent up, as well as the Cygnus 19 was a supply mission. So you got 3 supply spacecraft, and you've got 2 crewed spacecraft there attached to the International Space Station. As we speak, I haven't looked at my app. I looked a few days ago, so there's not a good hope to see it go overhead, is what I'm trying to say, in a day or two. So everybody try to see that. Our International Space Station might look like this one day, as an artist put together the SpaceX Starship when it might dock with the International Space Station someday. If it's up there, why not? Take us a bunch of supply and a whole bunch of fresh oxygen up there, right, Cynthia Rossi? I'll bet she's never seen that picture before. I know Tommy Usiak hasn't. He's too busy with his grandkids to do much surfing, Marty, on there. Bill Whiting. Bill, just missed you today, but thanks for taking a picture of the back of my head. Carlton Bailey's going to dinner with Ken Havocott and wife at Zorella's. So are you inviting us or not, huh? Maybe we'll go there, maybe not. I'd like to see the moonrise tonight, but that's about 6:15. And Doug Forrest, we know you appreciate your shout out. Thank you for staying curious with us and learning a bunch today. Marty, got anything to say on the USIAC microphone?
Right not.
Let me get some, afraid not. Here, let me pass this to you and clear your throat there. That tang will clear out your nasal passages. Well, we're all excited this weekend, Saturday through Tuesday. Astronaut Julie Payette shaking hands with our Karan Conklin, our executive director, last July when we got to meet Julie. She was the astronaut of the day out there and made a big impression on everybody. And I'm going to be out there tomorrow to greet her. Maybe we can snag her on the show over the weekend, Marty, if she's wants to go out to dinner Saturday or Sunday. She'll be there till Tuesday. On 2 missions, STS 96 and 127. 127 was in 2009. She's also the former Canadian Governor General, which represented the England monarchy in Canada. And she'll be available for autographs at the Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex at noon in the main gift shop and at 4:15 in the Atlantis gift shop. And as usual, autographs are free. They limit you autographing 3 things, and but you can buy for $10 that picture laying there and to be autographed. So, Marty, thank you for a wonderful episode today, folks. We've just concluded episode number 920. Thanks to people like you here that we couldn't do without. Dave Stanges in Germany, Larry Pushkar, Hazel Banks helped us get this thing started. An astronaut secretary, Pam Shivik, Tony Achilles, Keith Howell, people that bop in and out of there. Space Hipster #1, Emily Carney. We thank her for her support. Hadn't heard from our airline pilot, Daniel de Jong, for a while from the Netherlands, but we always hear from Gary Gerald, our farmer in Georgia there. So if your name's not up there, don't worry, we'll rack up another group of you up there that Marty and I seriously mean, and Karan Conklin, our executive director, who oversees this program. She's got the chain on me, folks. Karan does, so I don't get too far out there. We are indebted to folks like you here and everybody else that wants to stay curious with us. So, Marty, thanks again. What you gonna do this weekend?
I gotta go to a track meet tomorrow, see my great granddaughter.
Oh, well, that's fun. Well, she's taken after great grandpa because you love to run, and I told you Julie Payette, she likes running's one of her hobbies. Maybe y'all can check that out. How many 26Ks you guys have done? 26 and a half? I said it wrong.
26.2 miles. Miles.
Okay.
Not
All
K.
right, miles. Okay, got you, buddy. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for getting with us this week. Thank you for your suggestions, your comments, your donations to us. Cliff Watson gave us over $15 on YouTube the other day. You can do that too. Go back and look at some of our past shows. We're promoting the heck out of what we do here at the American Space Museum because we feel nobody else is talking about our incredible space shuttle era like we are, and celebrating astronaut birthdays and letting you know there's no American men orbiting the Earth right now. None. 2 women. They finally took over, Marty. So with that, I'm going to say I'm Mark Marquette, and I can't wait to see you again to bridge the space between us. Tang!